My dear students, welcome to CET and NEET program. In today's program, we are going to deal with the Human Physiology Part 1. This includes 4 chapters. Chapter 16, Digestion and Absorption. Chapter 17, Breathing and Exchange of Gases. Chapter 18, Body Fluid and Circulation. Chapter 19, Excretory Products and their elimination. Let us come to first question. Which of the following teeth are not represented in milk dentition? The options are incisors, canines, premolars and molars. Dear friends, you know, set of teeth present in the mouth of an individual constitute dentition. When we talk about dentition, we use the word diphyodont. Diphyodont refers to presence of 2 sets of teeth in the lifetime of an individual. They are namely milk teeth and permanent teeth. We also use the word heterodont when we describe human dentition or mammalian dentition. Heterodont refers to presence of 4 different types of teeth classified based on structure and function. The options are giving these 4 types of teeth, namely incisors, canines, premolars and molars. We all know incisors are cutting teeth, canines are tearing teeth, premolars and molars are called grinders. Remember, number of teeth present in an individual is constant. Permanent dentition is represented by 30 teeth, whereas milk dentition is represented by 20 teeth. In milk dentition, when you talk about dental formula, we say I 2 bar 2, C 1 bar 1, premolars PM 0 bar 0, molars 2 bar 2. That means premolars are not represented. So the option 3 is the answer. Also remember, when we talk about molars, in permanent dentition it is 3 bar 3. The last molars are not represented in milk dentition, which are called wisdom teeth. The question is, the volume of air remaining in the lungs even after normal expiration is called. The options are residual volume, functional residual capacity, expiratory reserve volume and vital capacity. Let us look into the meaning of these terminologies. Residual volume. It is the volume of air left in the lungs after maximum expiration. But the question asks volume of air remaining in the lungs even after normal expiration. So after normal expiration, how much volume is left? That must be functional residual volume. Functional residual volume include residual volume and expiratory reserve volume. So now let us look into the expiratory reserve volume. What does it mean? It is the additional volume of air that is expired after normal expiration. It is normally 1100 ml. The vital capacity, it is the maximum volume of air expired after maximum inspiration. The question is, the connective tissue devoid of fibers is. 4 options are there: loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, cartilage and bone tissue, blood and lymph. Remember, connective tissue is the most abundant tissue in the body. When we talk about connective tissue, we look into three components. They are namely cells, fibers and matrix. Here the question is, which connective tissue is devoid of fibers? The answer is blood and lymph. Blood and lymph is a specialized connective tissue, also called vascular tissue. Here the fluid component is matrix called plasma. Also remember, the matrix of loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, cartilage and bone tissue are secretion of the cell itself, whereas the blood and lymph tissue have plasma, which is not actually matrix. The question is, the only organ in the human body where capillaries join and continue as artery is. Options include, first option liver, second lungs, third spleen, fourth kidney. We all know the arteries take the blood from the heart, they undergo capillarization. Capillaries are nothing but blood vessels which are one cell thick, and the cells happen to be endothelial cells, and it is the site where exchange of material occurs. Normally these capillaries join and become a vein, but here question is quite interesting. It says the only organ in the human body where capillaries join and continue as artery. Dear friends, you have studied excretory products. When we talk about the nephron, which is a structural and functional unit of kidney, we say that nephron is made up of two structural components, namely renal corpuscle or Malpighian corpuscle and renal tubule. When we mention renal corpuscle, we also say that it is made up of two constituents. They are namely glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. When you talk about glomerulus, we say it is a network of blood capillaries present in the cup of Bowman's capsule. And when you talk about these glomerulus, we also show that afferent arteriole is going to convey the blood to the capillaries, that is glomerulus. And these capillaries join and continue again into the artery, which is called efferent arteriole. So since it is the glomerulus where capillaries join and continue as artery, the answer must be kidney. The question is, the cartilaginous flap that prevents the entry of food into the glottis during swallowing is called. The options are frenulum, uvula, lips and epiglottis. When we talk about the digestive and respiratory system, one part is common to both, that is pharynx. So pharynx is a common passage for food and air. When the food is passing, the pharynx should permit the food to enter into esophagus. When we breathe, the air has to pass through the pharynx, then the air has to go from the pharynx into the larynx and trachea. We also know larynx is the voice box. When the food is going to pass, the food has to be prevented from entering into the respiratory passageway and lungs. For this, we have glottis as an opening which has an elastic lid called epiglottis. So answer must be epiglottis. The question is least abundant leukocytes are. Options are neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, monocytes. You have studied this in the chapter circulation. When you talk about neutrophils, we should remember they are the most abundant leukocytes. You know, leukocytes are broadly classified into two groups, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes means the one which have cytoplasmic granules. Agranulocytes have no cytoplasmic granules. Granulocytes include neutrophils, basophils and eosinophils, whereas agranulocytes include monocytes and lymphocytes. The most abundant cells are neutrophils, which account for almost 60%. The least abundant are basophils, which hardly account for 0.5 to 1%, whereas eosinophils 2 to 3%. Monocytes are going to be around 5 to 8%. So the option 2 is correct. At the same time, remember, basophils on breakdown release histamine, heparin, serotonin, and they are associated with inflammatory response. The question is, which group of aquatic forms is known to excrete nitrogenous waste in the form of urea? Dear students, you know that nitrogenous waste, when we talk, the organism excretion of nitrogenous waste depends upon its habitat also. We are going to classify the organisms into three groups on the basis of the major nitrogenous waste they excrete: ammonotelic animals, ureotelic animals and uricotelic animals. Ammonotelic animals are the one which excrete ammonia as the major nitrogenous waste. Ureotelic, they excrete urea as the major nitrogenous waste product. Uricotelic, they excrete uric acid as the major nitrogenous waste product. So whenever we talk about ammonia, it is the most toxic and easily diffusible thing. As and when it is produced, it has to be excreted. Normally, we are going to see ammonia as the nitrogenous waste product in aquatic organisms. Here, let us look into the options. The first option, aquatic insects. Second option, aquatic amphibians. Third option, bony fishes. Fourth option, marine fishes. So here, when we talk about this, all the four options are going to mention aquatic adaptation only. When we talk about marine fishes, actually we are referring to cartilaginous fishes. Cartilaginous fishes, when we look into the evolution, they were first evolved in freshwater body and then they have moved to the marine water. In cartilaginous fishes like sharks, skates and ray fishes, their blood is slightly greater in solute concentration compared to outside. What I mean here is slightly hypertonic. In these organisms, to maintain higher solute, they are going to reabsorb urea. They excrete urea as the nitrogenous waste. So option 4 is the answer. The question is, which of the following pairs of digestive glands are not associated glands? The four options are liver and pancreas, parotid and submandibular glands, sublingual and submaxillary glands. Fourth option, crypts of lubricant and gastric glands. First, let us know what do we mean by associated glands. The glands which are not part of the system, they get associated with the system. So when we talk about human digestive system, the glands which are not part of the digestive system, the answer is liver, pancreas and salivary glands. Remember, liver, pancreas and salivary glands are associated digestive glands. They are independent digestive glands. Thereby, option 1, liver and pancreas is not an answer. Option 2, parotid and submandibular glands, they are nothing but salivary glands, so not an answer. Sublingual and submaxillary glands, they are also again salivary glands, so that is also not an answer. Crypts of Laberkan and gastric glands. Crypts of Laberkan are nothing but intestinal glands. Between the intestinal villi there are crypts where the cells are secretory, we call them as crypts of Laberkan. Gastric glands are nothing but invagination of the mucosa of stomach. So option 4 is the answer. The question is plasma proteins that help in osmotic balance. When we talk about blood tissue, we classify the blood tissue into two major components. One is formed elements represented by erythrocytes, leukocytes and platelets, which are also called thrombocytes. The second one is fluid component called plasma. Plasma account for 55% of blood by volume. It has around 7% proteins. The four major proteins are albumins, globulins, fibrinogen and histamine, which are mentioned here. When you talk about albumin, remember it is the one which is going to act as a buffer to maintain pH. Therefore, the answer must be albumins. Globulins, they are associated with body defense. Fibrinogen, they are associated with blood clotting. Histamines are not found in the plasma. On breakdown of basophils, they are going to be released that are responsible for causing inflammatory response. The question is, which of the following pairs is incorrect? Protonephridia, Amphioxus, Nephridia, earthworm, Malpighian tubules, cockroach, antennal glands, scorpion. So you are going to find different types of excretory structures and the example. Protonephridia are found in flatworms. They are also found in cephalopods. The cephalopods are nothing but chordates, they are protochordates. Amphioxus is the classical example. Thereby, that is correct and it is not an option as an answer. When you talk about earthworm, which is an annelid, we are going to find Nephridia. In cockroach, which is a terrestrial insects, we have Malpighian tubules as the excretory structures. So now we come to the option number 4. Antennal glands. Antennal glands are also called green glands. They are found at the base of the antenna of crustaceans. Crustaceans are nothing but prawns. And here the option given for antennal gland is scorpion. Scorpion is an arachnoid where 4 pairs of walking legs are present, whereas in crustaceans we have 5 pairs of walking legs. So the answer is option 4, that is antennal glands, scorpion, that is incorrect. The question is, pick the incorrect statement for lacteal. What is this lacteal? Remember, when you have studied digestive system, you talk about alimentary canal. One of the part of the alimentary canal we study is intestine. When you talk about small intestine is characterized by the presence of microscopic mucosal folds, which are called villi. And in the villi, we are going to find lymphatic vessels with blind end. We call them as lacteal. Here, the question is to pick the incorrect statement. Let us go through the options. Option 1. The lymphatic vessels present in the villus with blind end. That is a right statement, thereby it is not an answer for our question. Now we come to option 2. It helps in absorption of digested fats. 100% correct. Remember, fats after digestion, they are going to be taken into the mucosa cells. They are taken in the form of micelles. And these micelles carry the bile salts as coating. And remember, fatty acid and glycerides are going to be coated by protein to form very fine droplets called chylomicron. In that form, they are going to be absorbed. Blood is not going to help in absorption of digested fat. Remember, the lymph which is present in the lacteal not only help in absorption of the digested fat in the form of chylomicron, it is also going to be transported. Of course, remember, digested fat is transported both by lymph and the blood. Last one, produce antibodies. So, the option 4 is not correct. Thereby, that is our answer here. This is an interesting question. The question is, if the concentration of oxygen is 21% and carbon dioxide is 0.04%, what will be their partial pressures? They have given 4 options and you can easily read them. First, we should know what is partial pressure. In chemistry you have defined it, and in biology also you have defined it. The pressure exerted by a particular gas in mixture of gases is called partial pressure. When we take atmospheric air, all the gases present in the atmospheric air together exerts a pressure, and that is 760 millimeters mercury. When no breathing is happening, say in a state of pause, which is going to be for a very brief period, intrapulmonic pressure and atmospheric pressure remain the same, that is 760 millimeters mercury. So, here we should know 760 millimeters mercury as the pressure of gases, all the mixture of gases. 21% of oxygen is found in that 760 millimeters mercury. So, 21 bar 100 into 760. So, if you are going to divide this and multiply 21 with 7.6, it comes to 159.6. So, if the partial pressure of oxygen is 159.6, naturally 0.04 is 0.3 millimeters mercury. So, option 1 is correct. Another way of answering this is, the moment we know 21%, that is the percentage of oxygen what is found in the atmosphere. And we also know in the atmosphere partial pressure of oxygen is going to be high. When it comes to alveolar air, it is going to decrease. From there, as it comes to arterial blood, further decreases, and then in the body tissue and deoxygenated blood, it is going to be minimum. So, in that way also we can pick option 1 as the answer. The question is, which of the following statement is incorrect? Here there are 4 statements. Kidneys are the organs concerned with urea formation. So naturally this is wrong because urea formation occurs in the liver. I hope all of you know the biochemical cycle associated with urea formation is called ornithine cycle or Krebs ornithine cycle. So option 1 is wrong. Let us come to statement 2. Human kidneys are situated between the last thoracic and third lumbar vertebra in the abdominal cavity. Yes, that is the position. Now we come to third statement. The left kidney of human is slightly placed lower to the right kidney. Remember friends, there are a pair of kidneys present in the pelvic cavity. And when you talk about these kidney, which are bean shaped, reddish brown in color, covered by renal capsule, the right kidney is slightly lower because of the presence of the liver. Here the statement is left kidney of human is slightly placed lower. It is not the left kidney, it is the right kidney. Thereby even statement 3 is also incorrect. So statement 1 is incorrect, statement 2 is correct, statement 3 is incorrect. Now let us move to the statement 4. Kidneys produce urine nearly 4 times concentrated than the glomerular filtrate. That is correct. Remember, glomerular filtration is also called ultrafiltration. Remember, there are 3 major steps associated with urine formation. They are namely ultrafiltration or glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion or excretion, also called as augmentation. Remember, glomerular filtration is not a selective process. It is pressure gradient, and effective filtration pressure is found to be around 15 to 20 millimeters mercury. Glomerular filtration pressure is the cause, and most of the plasma except for protein are going to be filtered and enter into the Bowman's capsule as glomerular filtrate, and 80% of it is going to be taken back from the proximal collimated tubule. Renal tubule is meant for tubular reabsorption, and also some of the things bypassing ultrafiltration are directly added, for example hydrogen ions, some drugs, all this. So statement 4 is also correct. So the answer is statement 1 and 3, and option must be 3, which says 1 and 3. The question is the correct arrangement of 4 layers lining the wall of the alimentary canal from esophagus to rectum from outside to lumen is. Remember, when you talk about the alimentary canal wall, there are 4 distinct layers which are called coats, which are called tunic. From outside toward the lumen, they are tunica serosa, tunica muscularis externa, which is also called muscularis, tunica submucosa and tunica mucosa. So when we look here from outside to inside, the option 3 says serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. Thereby this must be the answer. At the same time, remember, when you talk about muscularis externa or simply called muscularis, it is made up of smooth muscle fibers. Smooth muscle fibers are involuntary muscle fibers. Normally we are going to find them arranged in 2 orientation as outer longitudinal and inner circular muscles. When you come to the mucosa, it is the mucosa layer which is going to become different, because it is this layer which is going to be directly exposed to the luminal surface where the food contents are going to pass through, which are subjected to mechanical process of digestion, chemical process of digestion and also absorption.